Hey, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Survive in Advance today. I am not the balladeer of this show, Mike Goodpaster. He is on special assignment for us today, covering some information and finding some new people to talk to for our continued efforts on the Super Bowl week for you. So I'm here today, and today what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit with Bobby Sheridan of the Sheridan Report. And we're kind of get a little more involved in the whole aspect of gaming, gambling. Now that sports betting has become legal, the major hotels are getting involved. Much of the major league sports franchises are getting involved in down. You're going to be able to do it from the comfort of your home with your credit card, and be able to participate in win or lose money. I'll probably lose a lot of money if I get involved, which is why I don't gamble. But that's okay. I'm an idiot, and I admit it. But why things like Bobby Sheridan, his product, the Sheridan Report, becomes much more of an important a tool for you to use if you decide to get into the legalized version of sports betting. Get into. So let me welcome today again our regular guest. He's on every day with us, but we're going to devote kind of most of this show today to let Bobby tell you about how to get involved in sports betting in a safe way, how to read the reports that he puts out, and his top plays and where the sure bets are, and what are the good sports to bet on. So, Bobby, welcome to the show.
Hey, Steven, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Look forward to doing it.
No problem. Let's start off today just with your top picks. You put out a daily report that you kind of put out on your website for free to people to kind of entice them to kind of get involved and to get involved with the Sheridan Report. And we go over them every day. We kind of make fun of it. You know, we kind of yuck it up a little bit. We don't have Goodpaster today, so we can be a little bit more serious because, you know, he's an idiot. So
sounds good.
We don't have to worry about that. But go ahead and talk about your top picks today and really what a top pick means. And, you know, if there's a latest line in the Super Bowl, let's talk a little bit about Tiger Woods because he had a good showing yesterday on his first outing, which is very unusual. And maybe find out what sports are good to bet on down the road. But let's start off with your Sheridan Report for January 25th, 2019. What are you offering today?
Sounds good, Steve. Well, we're offering today, like we offer every day, we have a rundown of the sports. The report, if you were to purchase it, would tell you what are the best bets of the day among the many that you're looking at. And it kind of just narrows it down for you. And each and every day we've been doing extremely well. A top play would be like a best bet. And a best bet you should put your most money on, you know, and that's why we signify it with a top play label. And today we have 2 on the board among 3 total betting selections. So let's jump right in. On the NBA today, we've got Milwaukee Bucks as an 11.5, open 11, now 11.5 point favorite over the Hornets. And we've got in college Butler plus 2.5 over Creighton. So those would be the top plays, and I can go over those in a little bit. And then our third selection would be the Wizards at plus 4 or Orlando. So what we've done is we've taken the entire NBA board and then the small board that's on college, and we've narrowed it down to those 3 picks.
So basically, with the top plays, these are kind of the bets that you feel very comfortable recommending these bets because these are pretty much, and nothing's guaranteed in anything. I get that, but these are ones you would say not a good chance you're going to miss this one. If you want to go in for a safe bet, you want to, you know, but then your odds are probably lower on these kind of bets too, aren't they? If they're a top play, I guess you're not getting
what happens,
the best odds.
Yeah. Well, what happens, Steve, is that you've got an informed opinion. You know, somebody like me, and there's others out there, does this for a living, professionally, and there's different handicapping factors that go into every selection. And so when I'm saying, okay, well, these are the best 3 bets on the board, this is an informed opinion from somebody who does this daily, who's done it for years. So, you know, that's the odds are the odds. You know, for instance, you know, Butler getting 2.5 points over Creighton, I'm saying is a better bet than some random pick on the board, meaning has a better percentage to come in than some random game on the board that you just might throw a dart at. And so you've got a much better opportunity to make money over the long haul. You know, sports betting sports betting is something that, you know, you're not going to win every day. I mean, there's going to be, you're just trying to hit a certain percentage of your bets. I mean, if you can win over 60%, you know, then
you're going to make money.
You're going to make money. You're doing pretty well, you know. And, And so anyways.
In a top pick, what exactly, you know, what kind of research does one do? If you can answer this, I mean, you know, it's kind of like asking a magician to give away how he does he'll saw the lady in half and have her feet hanging out at one end and her head the other end. You know, you don't want to give away your secrets, but I mean, what do you look at? You look at opponents played, common opponents, stats, trends, games won recently, games lost recently, how opponents have fared. I mean, what kind of all goes into picking a top play?
Well, I think you just covered a lot of good, solid handicapping factors. I mean, those all weigh in, and I think there's some more analytically inclined guys who will look at the numbers, you know, a lot more valuably. You know, they'll place a lot of emphasis on numbers and stats, and then there's other guys that look for, you know, trends and angles, and I kind of like to think of myself as a guy that has feel. You know, a feel for a certain situation, and I like to call it a spot. You know, there's certain spots, certain games where, okay, this game, this spot, this situation really favors this team, and these are the reasons why. And, you know, that takes a lot of experience, and it takes somebody that's been looking at these type games and spots, and somebody that understands sports and the mindset of a team or an athlete going into a certain game. And so that's where I think I have an edge over a lot of other handicappers. I'm not just strictly looking at it from an analytical point of view whatsoever. So I think what you said is right. I mean, everybody just kind of combines all of those type of things and tries to come up with their best play. And let me tell you, doing this on a daily basis, you've got to, you know, put one day aside and then it's on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. So you can't get too emotionally involved. You just have to stay ahead of your homework.
So what I've learned here is there actually is a purpose for taking algebra in high school and college, because you need the analytics, so you need the algebra factor, because that's probably more statistics and you know, that part of it.
Well, that's
you know,
part of it, yeah.
But algebra, math, there is a need for math. You know, calculators don't necessarily apply here. And secondly, I would guess you probably don't watch a lot of reality TV. You don't see much of the Kardashians or Real Housewives of any city, because you're probably just watching sports 24 hours a day.
I'm watching sports, following sports, reading articles, looking at data, looking ahead to the next day's line schedules. That's what I'm doing. My enjoyment is not just go out and watch a movie sometimes, but that's about it.
Here's the deal to everybody listening out there. If you want to get away with this and you want to be able to sit in front of your TV and drink beer and watch sports all day long, just tell your wife you're following the Sheridan Report and you're now gambling some of the money trying to get her a new pair of shoes, but you got to sit and watch sports all day. You got to be ESPN 24 hours a day. Can't watch Young and the Restless. Can't watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Can't watch America's Got Talent. I got to watch sports.
Well, that's not bad.
You got to be able to spin this thing, Bobby. Come on, you got to be able to spin it. So, on any given day, and I know you give us some freebies. You're nice enough to put out, and you put it on the show. How many top plays do you on the Sheridan Report, which you can buy? I think you said $10 a day or $50 a month. Is that correct?
That is correct, and there's a reason why.
How many top plays do you put out a day? In what sports? And talk a little bit about what are the good sports to bet on. I mean, there are some sports that probably aren't as easy to bet on as other sports. You know, what are the sports, if you're kind of a novice, you want to get into, you say, okay, it's legal now. I'm willing to take maybe $100 a week and put it down on a credit card and see if I can make some, vacation money or lose the vacation money, whatever you do. If you follow the Sheridan Report, you're probably going to make vacation money. What are the sports you want to bet on, and how many top plays do you put out a day over what sports on the Sheridan Report?
That's a great question. How many top plays? Well, a top play is a top play, so that can't be too watered down. There might be 1, 2 on a night. If there's a big schedule of games, maybe into a third game out of 100. I mean, the top play is a top play, so only a couple, 1 to 2 a day, Steve. But I think the great question you asked there was, what are the kind of sports? You know, what are you looking at? That's a great question. Some people tend to do better in some sports than in others. I'm very well-rounded. I do pretty darn well in a lot of the areas. I look at return on investment. So for me, when I take a year's worth of betting, my top return on investment by far, and it's every year, is baseball betting. And there might be a reason for that.
Well, it's the least chaotic sport. I mean, it seems to me that, and I was thinking of that. I think, okay, I would think baseball would be the easiest sport to bet on because the least chaoticness can happen in baseball. I mean, you understand what I'm getting at? I mean, it's pretty much a cut and dry game.
Understand.
Pitch the ball, hit the ball, field the ball, throw him out, or run the bases.
Right. And the thing about baseball is that a lot of people, it's not as easy as you think. I mean, if you go out and you take the 5 best pitchers, Kershaw and whoever, guys that are top of their sport, those guys are favored every time they go out and pitch too. Las Vegas.
Well, they're talented. They're good.
Bracket, so they're very good. So you can't just go out and take Kershaw and you have to lay $300 and win $100 when he goes on the mound. So if you do that all year long, last year, his return wasn't there. So what I try to do is I try to take throughout all the games that are on the board in baseball, I try to take the top 2 or 3 best underdogs for the day, the best spots that a team that's not favored, will win, and I try to hit, 50 to 55% of those. Now, can you imagine hitting 50% or 55% of all underdogs? Underdogs meaning for $100 you bet, you might get back $155. I'm not laying the money; I'm taking in the money. So if you can hit 50% of your bets at plus 150, you're going to make a lot of money. That's my style in the money line regime versus point spread. There's no point spread in baseball. It's money line. So hopefully you can understand kind of where I'm going there.
Yeah, and I would think something like let's just take my favorite sport that I enjoy watching the most is auto racing. It's NASCAR. That probably to me is like a really bad bet because Daytona comes up here in 3 weeks. It's restrictor plate racing. The big one always happens, and there's a guy like a Chase Elliott who's my favorite driver who maybe has the fastest car, the best setup car, but he gets caught up in the big one. And, he's taken out not by anything that he's done to create his own demise, but some other idiot on the track just creates the demise that ends up taking out 20 cars. And then so as good a bet as I think Chase Elliott would be to or a Kyle Busch or somebody, a top nice driver, they're so susceptible to chaos occurring that auto racing doesn't seem to me like it would be a good sport to bet on because of the mechanical structure of the vehicles that you're driving. An engine breaks, a tire goes flat, or just the chaoticness of one of the other 42 idiot drivers on the track who doesn't know how to drive as well as, say, your favorite driver. And you lose just by nothing doing that the guy you bet on had anything to do with. He's a victim of circumstances. Is that true?
Absolutely true. I mean, NASCAR racing, for just the randomness of what can go on the track, absolutely.
Or IndyCar or Formula One or any type of racing.
Right. Any kind of racing. Racing, shit happens, right, on the track, and that's what my dad always says. He's a racing guy, too. So, shit happens.
So you basically want to bet on sports that have the least amount of variables that are out of control, that are non-controllables. You control the controllables. Baseball, you can control a lot of the controllables.
Right. That's
football,
a great...
Football, you get an idiot referee who misses a call totally, a pass interference call, which, we're in a whole debate now over instant replay over that, but basically that altered the outcome of that game. And I'm sure it altered the outcome of a lot of betting. I mean, that play was totally out of the control of Drew Brees, of the Rams, or anybody. I mean, that was just a referee that altered the betting angle. I'm sure altered the bets paid out on that game dramatically, I would guess.
Just completely flips it. I mean, there's a saying, how much money changed hands on that call. Just millions and millions and millions. Well, just even on a smaller scale, last night our TSR, the Sheridan report, we call it TSR. We were 2-1 with the plays that we put on our report. We had them on air yesterday. Our one loss was Oregon. Okay, we had Oregon playing at home against Washington. They make this big comeback. They're down 8 or 9, outscoring by 15 or 16 in the last 10 minutes of that game, take a 5-point lead. You know, yada, yada, comes down to the tie ball game with a couple seconds left. Guy goes down for Washington on a fast break type thing. He needs to throw up a shot at the buzzer. The Oregon guy comes up, just kind of plays the ball a little bit, but runs past him, doesn't even touch him. Referee calls a foul. And that wound up being with 0.7 seconds left. That's how Oregon lost. That game should have been in overtime. And so you got to be able to stomach it, you know. I mean, just like the coaches and players, there's stuff that happens at the end of these games. Well, the bettors, you're right there in with them. And that's part of the fun and the excitement, too, but that's part of the agony. And that was our one loss last night. And you know how much money changes hands, you know, just for the bettors, you know. My personal betting yesterday, you know, I hit 2 out of 3, so I won money. But, I mean, it's sweeping, winning 3-0, especially when you tie a few of those games up in parlays. That's a big difference in your account, and that's an official call. So you're right. You know, the variables, the referee's calls, the emotions, they're big.
Yeah, it just seems to be the less amount of variables, and I don't think that's necessarily, you know, a great revelation, but, you know, I mean, it's like I would never bet on auto racing. I never bet on Daytona because most people watch that race waiting for the big one to happen. And invariably it never fails that Chase Elliott comes in and pits, you know, 1 lap too soon, gets caught in the back of the pack on the 1 lap where the big one happens, and then while he's been leading the entire race, you know, he tries some pit strategy, gets messed up, goes back to the back thinking I'm going to fly my way right back into the front, which he would have done, except, you know, A.J. Allmendinger decides he's going to make a right turn when he should be turning left and takes half the field out with him, and then Chase is caught up in the middle of it, and boom, he's gone. And by no fault of his own. He's got the best car, he's the best driver of the day, started on the pole, but by no fault of his own, he's out of it, and then you've lost all your money. So, yeah.
Right.
Here's one that drives me crazy. That I always want this explained. This drives me crazy because I don't gamble a lot, but we have a football pool on one of these websites. It's just a pool site, and we do NFL all season long. There's about 15 guys. We all put in $50, and we pay out $25 a game or something like that. You know, nobody makes money. Nobody loses money. I think I paid $50 and won $135 for the year, so I netted a little bit of profit. But the half points, what is the deal with the half points? You can't score a half point in sports. And is that just something that just favors the house? Is that something that was designed to give the house an advantage? Because I can't tell you the number of times I've called the right guy team winning, but they cover the spread by 5, and the spread is 5.5. It's like, I can't recoup that half point. What the heck is going on with the half point deal in sports? That drives me crazy. And explain that to people.
Well, the half point just kind of, obviously there's not going to be any push on the bet. So, you know, like a team in football, I think it's easiest to understand in football. You know, you got a field goal is a big, you know, 3 points. You know, a lot of games come within 3 points.
And the spread's 3.5.
And the spread's 3.5. So now you have to decide, you know, do I want to give up that, they call it the hook. Do I want to give up the hook and have to win a game by an extra score, which might be a 4-point game or a 7-point game? Those are all key numbers in football. So when you throw the half on top of the 3, what they're really trying to do is they're just trying to throw that half to entice people. Okay, well, I'll take the 3.5. So if I lose by a field goal, I'll win the bet because you get that extra half. They might need that half to even out the books, even out the money. Because if you just leave it at 3, it'd be too one-sided. I'll bring it into right now's focus. You look at New England in the Super Bowl. Right now it's sitting at 2.5. And as soon as they go to 3, they start taking Rams money. Well, so they don't know, you know, right? If we go to 3.
Now, they're taking Rams money. What do you mean? Does that mean people start betting on the Rams? So right now, all the bets right now are being placed on New England at 2.5, right?
Right, at 2.5. Well, anywhere from Pick'em. Yeah, anywhere from Pick'em up to 2.5. It's all been New England. But that makes sense because Rams money's not going to come in till 3. Because they know Rams backers feel like, okay, the line's going to go to 3. We'll wait. And so what's happening is all the early money's on New England, and then late money's going to come in on the Rams. And
because they're going to take it to 3 points.
They're going to take it to 3 points. Yeah, they're going to.
So you're going to bet on the fact that you're going to bet on the fact that New England is going to win by less than 3 points.
Right, by less than 3. And so to get back to your question, that half point, what it does is it'll take a game and it'll kind of even out the books. And when you lay that extra half point, well, how many times does it kill you? You know, that 3.5, you only win by 3.
It killed me a number of times.
It just seems to happen.
Pool, yeah.
Yeah. So.
And like I said, I don't put money down to gamble. I don't know. I'm not smart enough. I probably would enjoy it if I was smart enough. And if I start reading the Sheridan report, you know, it may be fun to put $100 down a week and pick some top plays and see what you can do with it. But you know, it's not an addictive thing that I'd be into. But it'd be, you know, as long as you keep it relevant. But
right.
I get so burned so many times in these half-point things. Like, dadgummit, the Colts lost. You know, and like I'll never bet against the Colts. Like it's my football team. And no matter what, I don't care what the Colts are favored or not. I will never ever bet against the Colts, which is dumb. But you know, that's why I don't gamble, because I bet dumb. But I'll never ever not pick the Colts to win a game. And the whole time I've ever been in the pool, I've never not picked the Colts to win. I don't even care about the sport.
Right.
Like, no, I'm saying the Colts are going to win. And,
well, because all of us are sports fans. You know, Steve, we all have our favorite teams and our favorite coaches.
That's the only team I do
favorite,
that with, those Colts. Yeah.
Right, but you know, we all you know have partisan towards, you know, one team or another, and that's okay. You know, I mean, but as a professional guy that puts out bets,
you can't.
I mean, there's no emotions involved in what I'm putting out there. But as a fan, I still have, you know, games and coaches and teams and that I like, you know, over others, and that's okay. But what I was going to tell you, just if we can back up a second. People might understand this in poker. You know, when you're playing poker and you got aces, you're supposed to win that hand and you get beat. They say they call it, if you get beat, you go on tilt. You get really upset, really emotional. It's hard to play that next hand or that next game, you know, when you're emotionally really upset. Well, somebody that does it professionally, just, you know, there is no tilt. There is no, you know, the next day's games are, you know, I'm already on those. I'm already handicapped, got those figured out. And so you try to do this on your own. There's a lot of emotional swings because of the money. Like you said, the one call swings the money back and forth. For a guy that does it professionally, you know, those swings just, the emotional swings, they're just not there. It's just, okay, next game, you know, because you know over 100 bets, it's going to happen. So, you know, if you're a guy that is just a fan that wants to bet, when you start doing this on your own, you're going to find out that, you know, it's not so easy to do. You're going to need help and on a daily basis because you're not able to put the time. You're watching more as a fan, and so you want to get into a situation where you're not a fan when you're betting, not as much a fan. You know, you just you have to look at the spots, look at the games, and don't let the previous outcomes affect, you know, how you look at the next game. I think that's important to understand. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, you know, and I'll tell you, this is what, and again, because you're right, the emotional part of betting is, and I'll tell you just a story that happened to me, which probably soured me on betting, was we had a weekly poker night. We used to a bunch of golfing buddies, and we would always play, and we had varying levels of income of people that played. And, you know, the dealer called the game, and we would sit around. And one night we did this thing called AC-Doocy, which is go in between. I'm sure you're familiar with the game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and so we have a tour, an assistant pro at the club who makes about, and Mike Goodpaster has just joined us, I believe. Mike, are you on board?
Is this the Steve Risley show? I've listened to you since I was a little kid.
Yeah, well, we're talking gambling right now, so Mike,
first-time caller, long-time listener.
Just kind of jump in with us. Glad you made it back from your secret mission. And hopefully you got some good news and got some good interviews and things, but we'll talk about that later. But we're kind of talking about how gambling works and how the Bobby Sheridan report is an integral part of what you want to do since sports betting has become legalized. And I was telling a story to Bobby. We were talking about the top plays and things of that nature. But let me finish my story, and then you'll jump into the conversation, Mike, because I'm sure you'll have a lot to offer on this as well, because you're an intelligent person and really studies the sport much like Bobby does. Me, I just watch the Kardashians. But anyway, Bobby, so we're playing this game AC-Doocy. And we've got everybody levels of income. Some guys making $200,000 or $300,000 a year. We play nickel, dime, quarter poker, and we don't worry about it. It's not money that's going to burn anybody. But we have a couple of people, like an assistant pro at a local golf club, who he's making about $22,000, $23,000 a year. Assistant golf pros don't make money at all. And we get into a situation where the pot, all of a sudden, acey-deucey, if you hit the edges, you burn the pot. You have to double the pot. That's, if you want to bet the pot, you burn it. Well, the pot's gotten up to about $150, like that, okay? And then it comes up, now the pot's like at about $250 because people got burned. And it's like, we're all like, okay, some of us are getting erections out of this because it's like, oh, wow, this is I've never bet this much in my life. I can afford this one time, but I want to do it the rest of my life. Well, the poor assistant pro draws an ace and a 2. Okay,
so
and now the pot's up to like $400.
He can't lose, right? He
can lose because he drew another ace. He burned the pot. He didn't win.
Oh, right.
And so now he has to put $800 into the pot, and this is a guy that makes $22,000 a year. And
big
then
chunk.
The fight erupted because he started crying. That's his rent check. He's got a wife and a kid, and it's his rent check. And there are those that wanted to believe bleeding hearts and say let him off, and there are those of us that said screw that. If he'd have drawn 3, he'd have taken the money and run.
That's correct.
That's correct. It's like, no, you got to put the money in, dude.
He's got to put the money in.
Don't sit here and you don't get it your way. And we never played poker again after that night. We never played. We broke up. There was a massive verbal argument over that and a fight. And it's like, no, I'm sorry. You had no business playing if you couldn't afford it. And you had no business betting if you couldn't pay. And he burned it. It burned him on an ace. He drew another ace.
Right.
And he hit the outside edge. And he lost, which is why I don't gamble, because I never, after that lesson, I hated it because I loved the guy, but I'm like, no, you have to put your money in. And they ended up letting him off. But they ended up not making him pay it. But we never played again as a group ever again after that.
Yeah, it kind of blew it. It blew it for everybody.
Yeah. And it blew it for everybody.
I think what you're bringing up there, we that came off of, we talked about emotions of betting, and I think that's what made you think about that. But another thing, when you take that going forward now as more adults and more, in a different part, different way of gambling, money management, is such a huge part of betting. Managing.
Do you
money,
offer that as part of the Sheridan report? Do you offer some money management advice, like don't bet over your head, or you kind of coach people on that, or you just kind of take their money if they want to bet?
Well, it wouldn't be as part of what they would purchase every day. Like, I'm pretty much saying who to bet. But if they were to email me privately and have some specific questions, I would definitely have some feedback for them and help them privately, because money management is a big part of making money at the end of the day.
Right. Because the Sheridan report actually doesn't do betting, right? You just offer the odds, right?
Yeah, I'm assuming that you have an account, you understand how to make a bet, you kind of understand, the basic parts of and you're looking for just now, who do I put? Who do I play? And that's kind of where I come in. But I can help you on those areas as well.
And you make yourself available to people that want to purchase the Sheridan report.
That's what I'm saying.
You'll make yourself available on a PM, a DM, a direct message, or something like that.
Exactly.
You'll get some personal advice and things like that. That's a service you offer
on top of. I've done that many times.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right, Mike, we're going to get ready here now. You jump in here, Mike, because we're going to go right now to the Super Bowl. Bobby, what's going on with the Super Bowl? What's happening? We briefly touched on it a little bit. Mike, jump in here now. You know what's going on with the Super Bowl. How's the betting going? What's going to happen? Who's favored? Where's the line going to go? Let's just get into the Super Bowl. Then I want to talk about Tiger Woods.
All right.
Let's go to the Super Bowl first. Mike, are you on?
Super Bowl first. Well,
yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Okay, Mike. Well, we got New England in -2.5 in 11 of the 12 properties. So one of the properties already moved them to 3. But New England's still -2.5. That's the number that's out there. There's been the largest bet so far. And remember, we have a whole another week, and this is going to get blown out of the water by next week. But the largest bet so far is $115,500 on New England at -1.5. Locked in, Steve, at -1.5, that bet. And then the largest bet on the Rams so far, the gentleman took 2 points, only for $4,000. So bottom line is the big money's coming out next week, and that line's going to probably move to 3, and then it's going to be bet hard back at 3. And that's kind of what we're looking at. They're looking at potential of seven-figure bets will be placed. So all the money's going to be next week, and that's where we're at there. Now, last night we talked about props. If you remember, they opened up the props at 7 o'clock, and they remained open for 3 hours on these things. And $400,000 was wagered at the Superbook. That's the Westgate Hotel in those 3 hours on all the different props. And the most you could bet was $2,000 on a prop. And I think
that's
Monday,
like the coin toss, right? That's just the coin
toss.
Right,
coin toss. Yeah,
deferring the first half, second half, things like that.
Right, just anything, any situation, anything you can think of. More pass yards, most receiving yards. The first score will be what? Will Brady have a turnover in the game? Just you name it, it's on there, and people think that they can, come up with an edge on a certain one or two of these, and then others, and this is the most of it, is just for fun. A lot of people just like to put $10 on 100 of those and then follow them as the game is going on. So the props are out there now too, and we can go over a few of those on another show. But so that's kind of the Super Bowl line where it's at. And what do you think,
Yeah,
Mike?
I still haven't found anybody willing to take my dollar bets. I just want to bet $1.
Well, I'm waiting for the big bet next week because I usually like to bet my trailer. It makes the game more interesting.
Well, you move from the trailer to the tent, Mike? You just move out to the tent?
I don't lose. I bet my trailer every year, and it's been golden.
Oh, you have a double wide now?
No. I usually take the extra money for Pabst Blue Ribbon.
PBR.
And then I usually pick up an extra coon dog and a shotgun. So
I thought you were on a no-carb diet right now. You can't be drinking PBR.
Oh, well, I'm not now.
Oh,
I guess I'll have to get something else. There are plant-based wines, though. Maybe I'll just start drinking wine.
So, Bobby, if you were right now, if you were, again, if I was going to go bet on the Super Bowl, who should I bet on right now?
Well, I think the Rams, and I'm giving out my pick, but that's okay. I don't care. I think the Rams are the bet in this game, and so I have not personally bet the game yet. I'm going to take 3 points at some point this week and just decide how much I like the game or how much money I'm going to put on it. But I do like the Rams, and I'm going to also take the money line, which would be like a plus $1.40. So money line means I don't take the 3 points. I don't take the 2.5 points. I just bet them to win straight up. But in return, I get a better value on my dollar. So for every 100, I'll get back 140 if the Rams win the game straight up. So I'm going to probably do some sort of combination between taking the points and then also taking the Rams. And so I'm waiting. I think the Rams are the best side. But, that's probably for another show, talk about why and everything. But you asked me, so I told you.
If I was going to bet money, Steve, I would bet on the Rams.
Yeah, I would too.
No, you wouldn't, because you just said you would never bet against Belichick and Brady. But
no,
if it was my own money and I was betting when I look at it, the Rams match up.
Yeah, Mike, you're convincing me of that. I hate to bet against because I know I'll get burned if I bet against Belichick and Brady.
Well, last year you wouldn't have.
Yeah, I think the Rams really are a team that can handle them. I think it's a neutral field. I think the crowd favorites will be the Rams because I still think there's an animosity toward Belichick and Brady winning all the time. And I think the crowd noise is going to be favoring the Rams, which, plays in the emotional heart of it a little bit. But, again, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, to me, it would be the 3 points because I think this is going to be a close game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the Patriots can still win, and you can still win the bet.
Bobby, do you have any idea
true.
Do you have any idea, Bobby, what's the biggest spread ever been offered in a Super Bowl? Was there ever really a
I
one-sided
think
bet?
Yeah, the biggest spread ever was the the miracle game when Shula lost with the Colts, right, Mike? When the Jets beat them, I think the Colts.
I believe it was the longest spread. I know Kansas City was like that big of an underdog before, or close to it the next year.
Yeah. What was the spread? What really in a big spread in Super Bowl? What's a big spread?
Well, I think that was like 17 or 18, wasn't it?
Yeah, that spread was. I was going to say
wow.
It was 18 points, and yeah, but a big spread nowadays, more modern, would probably be 7.5, 8, 9. If you saw a spread like that, that's pretty big. Well, here's a recent example, and this is a good thing to teach people too. And I've put this on Twitter. The year that the Patriots were going for the perfect season, they came up against the Giants. Remember, and the Giants, obviously beat them with Eli. And the Patriots that game, I believe, were 9-point favorites or something in that range. And the money line, they were like minus 480 or minus 510 or something like that. Meaning you have to bet 480 just to win 100. So I go out and stupid me, I made a big bet on New England. I was so convinced that they couldn't lose and that perfect season was going to happen. I got emotionally involved in that, I guess, to a degree that just there's no way the Giants could beat them. And I went out and I lost a lot of money on that. And
you should have talked to me. I picked that game.
Oh, that was so
bad matchup. I'm telling you, there's a way to beat them. And the largest point spread in Super Bowl history was actually Super Bowl 29, the 49ers and the Chargers at 18.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the second biggest would be there was a tie between Super Bowl 1 and Super Bowl 3. Super Bowl 2, Green Bay was favored by 13, and Super Bowl 4, Minnesota was favored by 10.
Yeah, so you can't buy money. I mean, you can't just think something's a lock and bet a little bet a lot of money to make a little bit. It's just a dumb bet. Look at some of those biggest spreads that they didn't come through. New England,
Mike, what percentage of Super Bowls really have turned into blowouts? I mean, I know we've had some great games lately, close.
I would say probably 50%.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying.
I don't know. What do you consider a blowout?
I mean, a two-score margin. I mean, where it's like you're down to 4 minutes to go and you're 2 scores down, and you can't come back. Basically. I
know Chicago Indy was like that. Of course, the Denver New England was like that.
Who was favored, Indy or Chicago?
Oh, Indy. Chicago didn't belong there, and everybody knew it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which, of course, is your reason why the Colts won.
I mean, really.
Dungy wanted that to be an even game, so he kicked off the Hester. So it was 7-0 Chicago. Then the Colts from that point on beat them by 14. So.
Yeah, but if you look at the first. Shit, we talked about it the other day. It was the first. Really, there wasn't a great Super Bowl game till 13 and 14 were really good games. 16 was a good game. 17 was all right. But, I mean, really, you didn't have a great game in the Super Bowl, I don't think, until Super Bowl 23. So that was 22 years without a great game. And out of those 22, maybe 5 of them were single-digit games. So I would say probably half, but I would say probably 75% in the last 20 years have been competitive close games.
Absolutely, Mike. I'll throw something out. This will be a betting overturn. 13 out of the last 17 Super Bowls, the underdog is covered. 13 out of 17.
Yeah, and those point spreads in most of those games were not huge.
You said the underdog is covered?
The underdog has covered 13 out of the last 17. And the trend used to be to take the favorite to win and cover. So it's completely reversed, and now we're on
parity.
And then Rams. Yeah, parity. The Rams parity. Yeah, the Rams fit the bill there too. And it was an underdog year overall in NFL. Overall, the underdogs did really well. So that would kind of fit there too.
Well. All right. Anything else we're missing on the 1, 2, 3s of gambling before we get into the?
Hey, what's the over/under on the game right now, Bobby?
57.
Ooh, that's what I was picking. Because I was just thinking, if it's 57, I don't know if I'd go under or over that, Bobby.
I think the under's getting a little bit of the play. It opened 57.5, and some of the wise guys took that. And when I
would lean under just because I don't know if Goff can score that many points. And I think this may end up being more of a game where they're trying to run the ball at each other. But
right.
With Brady there, that can change quickly.
Value is a big part in this whole deal too, Steve. Value the number. A lot of guys will take a certain number or lay a certain number because they know it's gonna change. So, a lot of those guys that took New England at pick 'em, they might come back and take the Rams at +3 and try to middle that game. Try to hit both sides of it and come up with a 1 or 2 point game. They can hit both bets. So, gambling, sports betting, the number is very important, and value with the number is very important. And so there's so much that goes into it, Steve, and that's why you get a guy that does it every day to help you out. You're going to have a chance to win money.
Which, of course, is why we recommend the Sheridan Report. We bring you on daily.
You in relation to Danny Sheridan, Bobby?
Absolutely. No, I'm not. I've been asked that so many times, and I'm really not. So that's kind of cool.
Actually, I don't know why his name just popped into my head, and I never realized it before. But
yeah, USA Today.
Yeah, back in the 80s and 90s, he was the big guy.
Yeah, he was. Anyhow, Steve, I appreciate
all right, let's
talking
move
about
on now.
I
just saw a ticker. Tiger has moved to -3 on his third hole at the Torrey Pines at the Farmers Open.
That a boy Tiger.
What are we thinking? Is he a good bet right now? I mean, I know that he didn't cover. You called it last night, and Schauffele covered your bet for you on him last night of not being able to beat Schauffele. But Tiger came out strong and finished 2 under. Is there a good bet on him winning a major this year, or is Tiger Woods somebody would be a good gambling guy to pick and stick with, or is he still an unknown quantity?
Well, I think he's becoming known. I think with his finish last
he's known,
year,
but is he are you confident in betting
obviously
on him?
Right. What I mean by that is known that he's still going to be a player in this thing. He finished the year so strong, and I think a lot of people now believe he's going to win another major, and so the sports books are taking advantage of that, and they're posting odds on whether he'll win one of them, or whether he'll win 2 of them. You can get different odds on those, and for me,
where are the majors this year? Let's see. The Masters, he's won 4 of those. He knows that course. I mean, they Tiger-proofed it. I mean, that was the whole joke of the early 2000s was they Tiger-proofed the course, and he still has the ability to beat that course, and that's his home course basically. The U.S. Open's at Bethpage Black, which he's already won there, and of course he's very familiar with and enjoys playing. Where is the PGA this year?
I'm not sure right on that one.
And then who has the British?
I'm not sure.
I don't know either. Yeah, I haven't gotten into golf that much yet. But so, I mean, are the odds in favor that Tiger's going to win a major this year? Do you think he will? I mean,
well,
as a fan, I think he will, but I'm not. I don't know if I'm willing to bet my
You're not
money.
going to ask me, Steve, where the PGA Championship is this year?
Yeah, Mike, where is it? No, Mike, it's a general conversation.
It's in Pebble Beach.
Pebble Beach. Oh, that's right. No. Is the
Pebble Beach.
PGA's
the PGA Championship is in Pebble Beach.
That's the PGA,
and I'm pretty sure that I think I read this the other day, but I'm also pretty sure that the British Open is at Royal Portrush Golf Club. I believe that's in Northern Ireland, Steve.
Which is more an American-type course.
That's what I was thinking.
Wrong. But is the PGA? Yeah, I don't see them playing a PGA at Pebble Beach. You sure the U.S. Open's not at Pebble? Maybe
I'll look it up. Let me look it up.
Look it up.
Well, PGA, I just looked it up. They have Bethpage Black course.
So PGA is at Bethpage Black. So the U.S. Open's at Pebble Beach.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I got them backwards. So, yeah, the PGA is at Bethpage Black, which Tiger's won there. I mean, I was at 2000 U.S. Open. I worked for the Golf Channel that week and saw Tiger demolish that golf course. That was the year after Payne Stewart had passed away in the plane crash. And they had emotional tribute to him. And I was a runner for the Golf Channel and had access. It was the most incredible thing in the world. I had all-access badge. I had a golf cart. I could go anywhere I wanted to go, in the locker room, on the driving range.
The PGA is in Bethpage, New York.
Yeah, Bethpage Black, yeah. which is another public course, which is where they're playing, this week at Torrey Pines, which is a city course for city of San Diego. If you're a resident of San Diego, you can play that course for $50. Unbelievable.
Wow.
If you're not,
That's
it's
so
like
cool.
$400 to play.
My God, I could go to the Milan golf course up here, which is a pretty good golf course, and it's only like $18. And if you play before 10 o'clock, it's only like $12 with a cart.
Yeah, and probably for $25 you can play with Bobby Plump and hear the story.
I don't know why you got to make fun of Indiana all the time. It's just the
I
fact
love
it's a better
Indiana.
value to play the Milan golf course than it is out in wherever in San Diego that is.
Nah, it's not a better value. Well, you see the views from Torrey
Oh, you ought
Pines.
to see the views in Milan. I mean, you can see the railroad tracks.
Yeah, you see the water towers painted blue with the big Milan up there,
Well, and you got an elementary school, and then there's a cornfield. I mean, come on.
And a trailer park.
San Diego can't. No, there's no trailer parks. It's a high-quality golf course. It's a par 5, most
really?
holes. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a hole out there that's like 650 yards away.
And so what do you do? Do you, instead of golf carts, you guys all have like little LX 350 John Deere tractors?
I'll tell you what, it takes me a good 5 or 6 throws to get on the green.
Last time I played at Milan Golf Course, people were using tennis balls instead of golf clubs.
You never played at the Milan Golf Course.
I played at the Milan Golf Course.
They wouldn't let you play in Milan.
Okay. All right, whatever.
So did you play the
Bobby,
Milan Golf Course?
is there anything else? Bobby, no, I've never played the Milan Golf Course. I've never
Why
been to
not?
Milan, Indiana.
So you're not a real
Because I have
golfer.
no
Go
use
ahead.
For Milan, Indiana, because that's an overrated sport.
Really? Just because they did more than you ever did with your high school team?
That's right. They did. Yes, they did. But
Okay.
It's an overrated story.
It's an overrated story because you weren't in it. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's not it. Bobby, we've gone through the nuts and bolts of gambling. What does the Sheridan Report offer for $50 a month?
Well, what we offer for $50 a month is 30 reports. Every day you'll get sent the report emailed, and the report will have on the top 2, 3, 4 plays for that day. And, it gives you an opportunity to be on some of the better bets.
Now,
for that day's card.
Do you kind of cover all? Because I know sometimes when you send out to us, for us to kind of talk to you about and bring up, is the Sheridan Report more extensive than what you send to us? Like, do you delve into NASCAR? Do you delve into golf? Do you offer Sheridan Report? Or do you only just pick certain sports you want to offer on a certain day, and we should just bet on those sports?
It's the same, and we do the MLB, NBA, and the NFL, of course, the 3 major pro sports there, and I do in football and college and college basketball and college football, and then I do the PGA and the NASCAR and the ATP. We do that as what I call the Early Risers program. And,
so those will all be in the Sheridan Report every day.
That'll all be on there. If it's happening, it'll be on there, and
There'll be
the best
about it.
value, the best plays from wherever in the sports field is going to be listed on there. You'll get 30 reports for $50, and like I've said, I'll just briefly say, because we might have some new listeners listening to this program, everything I put in that report, I play. I bet, and that's how I make my living, betting on sports. I don't make my living selling this report. I do it because it's good. It focuses me. I'm enjoying it, and I do it to help a guy out that runs the website for me, and it helps him out a little bit and generates enough money to pay some bills and that. But that's why I do just a small price, because I'm not trying to be this guy that says, give me $500 for my best couple plays. That's not. I'm here for the little guy too. I want everyone to have a chance to be able to beat their bookie and put them on the right side on most of these games, and that's why I just charge a little bit. For a couple dollars a day, you can get one man's opinion of what he thinks the best bets are on the card, and it's been pretty proven that I do pretty well. That's for sure. So I think it's a good investment if you want to be betting on a daily basis.
So,
no doubt
what kind of idiot would spend $10 a day over $50 a month? Goodpaster?
That's
something he would do?
Well, there might be a guy that
just
bets on Sundays, just bets on the NFL. Maybe he just wants the picks for Sunday, and that's it. So
yeah, Steve, don't be an asshole.
Well, if there's 5 Sundays in a month, you break even. And
yeah.
you get freebie picks in the middle of the week.
But
too.
if there's 4, and I don't care about basketball, then that's the better value.
There are Thursday night football games. There's Monday night football games. So seems to me, any way you shape it, the $50 a month would be a better deal than the $10 a day. Because football's not only played on Sundays.
I agree with you.
Ooh, Mike, we'll get a comeback on that one.
All the games on Thursday and Monday suck, so.
and the Early Risers program, has the golf and has the tennis, and that program alone made a good percentage return on investment last year. So just that program alone, forget about the NBA, the NFL, and all that, just the Early Risers. And let me tell you, that takes me to the Australian Open. I got to throw it in there real quick. Just even from a fan's perspective, this is a huge final that we've built up in the men's. Nadal.
Is it Djokovic and Nadal?
Yeah, it is. And, neither guy has lost a set. These guys just blitz through the field, and they're going to face each other now. And they're the two Goliaths, two legends. And that match is going to be Saturday night late on the West Coast. And Sunday morning early, 3:30 in the morning early on the East Coast. The line is Djokovic minus $1. I just have it right here, minus $1.33. So it means
Djokovic
have
is
to lay
favored.
133. Yeah, Djokovic is favored. You'd have to lay 133 to make 100. The take back on that would be plus 113. So for $100, you get 113 back. 213 total. 113 winning back on Nadal. And I think there's some value there on Nadal. His serving is unbelievable, probably the best he's ever served, and he obviously is capable of winning. Their head-to-head is 27-25. You believe that, guys? They've played 52 times, and it's 27-25 Djokovic. So
Djokovic
that's going to be a great final. It's going to be a great final, and it's great for the sport.
Yeah.
And it's
Nadal plays on emotion. Djokovic is a machine. He's a hitting board. Anything you hit at him, he hits back at you.
He's unbelievable, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just a hitting machine. He's like playing against the wall you do. And when you're warming up to play tennis, you get the wall at your tennis. We lived on tennis courts in my house in Indianapolis, and there was a tennis. We had 6 tennis courts right in our backyard, and on the club that we lived on the grounds of the club, and it's just like hitting a wall. Everything you fire at it comes right back at you. And that's Djokovic.
Something interesting in this final is they're having an extra day in between. There's 2 days off before they play, and usually there's only one. And McEnroe was talking about that the other day. I don't know who that would favor or not favor. I mean, neither player was taxed at all going into this final. Like, had to win 5-setters. Or
I would think it favors Djokovic I think, because he's the least emotional player of the two. And I would think that Nadal's going to be sitting around bouncing off walls wanting to play.
Yeah, he could be right.
That's just my opinion. I mean, as an athlete, not as a bettor.
And see, Steve, to go back, Mike wasn't part of this part of our conversation, but we talked about what goes into handicapping and betting.
Mike's not a part of any conversation we do.
If you had a Steve Risley service, I mean, no, I'm being serious here. If Steve Risley put out a handicapping service, that's something that no, but really,
Steve Risley is a handicapping service.
I'm laughing with Mike on that one. You would not want to bet on my opinion.
But what I'm
Mike,
saying
tell
is
him the truth.
That would be a handicapping factor. Well, what you just said.
Yeah,
the reasoning you used, that would be something.
Yeah, but then if you use Steve's pick, then you're going to be in trouble, because that Villanova-Butler game was the first one he's gotten right in a year.
If you want to put a little asterisk down at the bottom of the Sheridan report and say the Risley factor, emotion, I'll put it on there, but I would validate.
I wouldn't put it on there.
Yeah, I wouldn't even put it on there, but I would say you can listen to this idiot, but I wouldn't believe a word he's saying.
But the other day you just said Tiger Woods, a guy in his position in life in the off season, may not be as prepared going into the first tournament of the year. It's not a major. He might need that.
Well, how's he doing right now?
He's 2 under. He shot 2 under. He's 3 under now, last I heard.
But
I
Steve,
blew it.
That helped me.
He's playing great golf.
Steve, no, that helped me win a bet, because Schauffele beat him by a stroke yesterday, won that matchup. And even though Tiger was more ready than what you were thinking, that line of thought process helped me win a first-round match. So
you bet on the guy that wasn't the one that Steve was talking well about, Woods, or?
No,
okay, I got you now.
Tiger. No, he bet right.
I got you now.
Right.
Yeah, I bet right. So what I came back today was Tiger looked so darn good yesterday. He outperformed where maybe we thought he would, and so I took him today even over Tony Finau. And so, that's kind of what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a good day today because he's on the South Course today, which is the easiest.
So Risley being wrong helped you win.
Right.
Okay. So we could do like the Risley ass backwards report, and whatever he says, you just bet the opposite.
That would be the bass backwards report. The Risley bass backwards report.
Yeah.
No, Tiger, he's on the easier of the two courses today. I expect a good day out of Tiger based on how he hit the ball yesterday.
Right, exactly.
I mean, he surprised me yesterday. I watched the entire 18 holes, and he didn't put the ball out of play at all. He kept it in play, and when he had to recover, he recovered smartly. He's making more smart decisions than I've ever seen him make. He's being less of a superhero and more of a winner, if you know what I mean.
Okay, you know what that's comparable to? It's comparable to Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Because up until 1967, he fought a certain way. After that, he had to learn to win with his head.
Right.
And that's what Tiger Woods is doing right now.
And you know what I learned? I watched a documentary the other day on the 70s, Mike. You know what put HBO on the map?
Boxing,
the Thriller in Manila. That was the first big thing.
The Thriller in Manila?
Thriller in Manila. I'm sorry.
Actually, it wasn't. George Foreman, Joe Frazier in 1973 was the first fight that they showed.
But the biggest one was the Thriller in Manila.
Well, they also had Ali Foreman. But the thing is this, they didn't. You do realize that they didn't show it live, though, because that fight was only on closed circuit. But they showed the replay a couple of weeks later.
Yeah, and it was over in Zaire.
But since they had the rights to it, nobody else could show it. ABC couldn't show it. ABC actually showed it like 20 years later when Disney basically bought the rights to everything.
Right. Yeah, of which Disney now is creating its own streaming channel, which my son's working on a project for them right now, which they're going to pretty much put everything that Disney owns, which is ABC Sports, everything. Disney owns freaking everything. And you're going to start seeing all these things pop back up now on the Disney streaming channel. It's going to be it's going to blow Netflix and those guys out of the water. Because Disney does studio movies, they do everything, they do television shows.
So what you're saying is we should buy stock in HBO right now?
I'd buy stock in Disney if I were you, because they're going to own streaming here in a couple of years.
I won't. Walt Disney was a communist. I don't like him.
Okay. All right.
We could have a whole show about what I know about that. But
my good pitch,
Bobby, anything we missed on the 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Bobby, he's not going to let you talk until he gets to say what he wants. Go ahead, Steve.
Bobby, is there anything that we've missed or not you wanted to say about how to amateurly get involved into gambling and betting? Now the bookmaking is legal. It's not a crime to do it. You can do it with your credit card, with a legitimate hotel that's going to pay. You aren't going to get thugged if, you're going to get your credit card dinged. Is there anything that we didn't cover today? Because I think I enjoyed the show. I enjoyed talking about it.
It was a good show, and we can. I mean, you could dive into this. No, I mean, basically not. And I think what's good about legalizing this is, the average Joe right now, if he wants to bet, he has to live in Nevada, Vegas, right, or in one of the legal states. But before there was nothing legal, so he had to live in Nevada, or he had to have a bookie, a local guy at the bar that took the bets, and you met once a week with the brown paper bag, or he opened up an offshore account online, from Costa Rica or, some of those books that are.
Which you don't know what the hell they're going to do with your credit card.
Right, you don't know what they're going to do. So it takes out 95% of people that would even like to bet. So, now that it's legal, it's already in, 6 or 8 states. It's going to be coming to your state soon. I mean, pretty soon it's going to be everywhere. And so you can go to the local casino, the Indian casino or wherever is in your area, and there'll be a sports area. Do we have it in California?
Is California one of the legal states?
No, not yet. No, I think 2020.
You go to Morango or Pachanga or any of those.
You're going to be able to eventually go to those, and just like Vegas, go to the sports book area and put your bet down, and it's legal, and it's not thought down of, and you don't got to meet the guy in the paper bag. You just take out what you want to invest, watch the game, enjoy it. And I think you're going to want to, if you're going to want to make money, you're going to want to be aligned with somebody that can help you be on the right sides daily. And if you're just doing it once a month, having fun, you don't need me, But if you're going to try to make some money, you
the last question I'll ask you on this is this: if I was new coming to do it and I wanted to do it for fun and see if I could use the Sheridan Report and turn it into some kind of a, like I said, vacation money maker or something like that, what's the first sport I should bet on?
Well, if you're going to use my report, you just come on board in March and just bet 6 months of baseball, and I'll guarantee you'll make money. So baseball, I think, would be your best bet. Although football is a glamour sport, I think baseball would be your best introduction into the sport to try to consistently make money. It's a daily sport, so you'll be in action every day, 2-3 games a day, and if you're going to come on board with the Sheridan Report, a good time would be around March.
Yeah, Pete Rose thought that too.
Well, Pete Rose was a dumb gambler. I mean, if you look at his bets that were on those pages on his sheets and his handwriting, he laid too much action. I mean, he laid the favorite too often, and that's why he didn't make any money. And he just didn't know what he was doing betting-wise, even though he's an insider in the sport. And, that's the bottom line between a professional handicapper and a guy that's just a professional person in the sport. He didn't know what he was doing.
Which is he didn't have the Sheridan Report.
That's correct.
There you go.
He didn't pay his bookie. If he paid his bookie, he would never have gotten caught. He didn't pay his bookie, and that's why he got out there. He thought he was Pete Rose and he could just get away with it, and he couldn't. So they blew the whistle on him. But he owed a lot of money because he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, that's much like my theory of why I don't think Michael Jordan's father died accidentally either in a random attack in a roadside rest area. I think that was another deal where somebody didn't pay their bets.
100%.
Yeah, I 100%. Think the NBA covered that up and paid his debts.
Yes.
Told him to step out of basketball for a few years and go do baseball, or because the Bulls continued to pay him his salary while he was retired. And I think the NBA just said quietly, we do not need our superstar player involved in another Pete Rose situation. And I don't think it was an accident that his father met his untimely demise.
I agree with you, Steve. Yeah, I agree.
Somebody's going to write a book on that eventually. Somebody's eventually going to figure that out and write a book on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Good stuff,
Mike, you still with us?
Good stuff.
Yep.
Let's go on this day. Mike, anything interesting on his in this day?
I don't know. That's up to Bobby. It's his report.
Bobby, what do you want to talk about here? Ray Kroc? I'm intrigued by the Ray Kroc thing. Ray Kroc thing. I'm intrigued by Ray Kroc.
Steve just said cock on the radio.
Cock, I know. I apologize.
Capture that and throw it out.
I'm intrigued by what these people back in the 70s, paid for sports franchises, like what the Yankees sold for and what their values are today. Can we address that one, Mike? Can we just talk about the artificial inflation of these sports franchises? Are they really worth the money that they're valued at right now? Are the Colts worth $3 billion? Really, seriously?
I don't know. I can tell you this, the guys that bought them before, they ended up being worth a lot more. I just don't see how the value could go up much more than what it already is on these teams.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, and Ray Kroc got his money, I believe, from buying McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, he parlayed McDonald's, and he wanted to own his franchise, and he was down there in beautiful San Diego and paid $12 million, 1974, which in 74, $12 million, how much? I mean, that was like $1 billion, right?
But the thing that's interesting to me is George Steinbrenner brought the Yankees like 2 years before for just $8 million.
And now they're the second most valued franchise in all of sports, behind the Cowboys.
Yeah, they're first or second.
Yeah,
who's number one?
I think the Cowboys are worth more than it's the Cowboys. Then it's the Yankees, and it's Manchester United. I think are the top three.
I was going to say Manchester. I know is up there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in the top. Those are the top three. I don't know what order they're in. They're the top three, but it seems to me that this was a situation of where tech money came in, stupid money came into play, And these guys like Steve Ballmer, who got his money off of Microsoft, and comes out and just wants to own the Clippers and will pay any ungodly, stupid amount. The Cuban's the same thing with the Dallas Mavericks. He just wanted to own a basketball franchise. He didn't care. He had billions of dollars off of streaming,
Right.
Yahoo streaming, and he sold it all to Yahoo and made billions of dollars. And he streamed because he wanted to watch IU games in Dallas. That's why he created streaming. He figured
amazing.
it out in a nutshell. And then he sells it to
That's
Yahoo,
amazing.
and he immediately sells his Yahoo stock, and all of a sudden now he's a multi-billionaire. And he says, I just want to own an NBA team. I live in Dallas, and he owns the Clippers or the Mavericks. And I don't know what he bought them for, but that's another franchise now. It's worth billions of dollars.
Some of these guys are just golden. Whatever they get into just will work.
Well, I mean, it's a far cry now. That's where you've got to have gazillions of dollars to be involved in sports anymore. You
Right.
just can't. That era of building the Green Bay Packers, or building Chicago Bears, Hallis, or anybody, the city of Green Bay that owned the team, technically still owns the team. I don't know. Who owns the Packers, Mike?
No, supposedly the people, but they don't really.
They don't really, yeah.
No, they own stock, but it's stock that you buy and you can't vote on anything, so you're not really an owner of a team. It's basically just a bunch of morons in Green Bay that like to run around with a certificate they paid $500 for, claiming that they own part of the Packers, even though they have no say. And the best story I ever heard about Ray Kroc, I think it was Tommy John told it to me off the air. It wasn't anything it was at, but Ray Kroc, the home opener in 1974, I think they were playing the Houston Astros. They were playing somebody, but that Padres team was terrible. They lost like 102 games that year, and they're losing 9-5. And Kroc goes up, gets on the PA microphone in the 8th inning in front of 40,000 fans and said, I apologize. I've never seen such stupid ball playing in my life. And the crowd roared.
Oh, my gosh.
So that was his first game. And the main thing to remember about Ray Kroc, though, he was a guy that didn't just hoard his money. He's the one, he started the Ronald McDonald House through McDonald's. And when he was with the Padres, I know the Kroc Foundation, I remember seeing a story on them on the old NBC Sports World, how he donated almost half his money to study various medical conditions like alcoholism, diabetes, arthritis, MS. So he was a good dude. And the bad thing was he died right before the Padres went to the World Series in 1984.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, and that McDonald's as a franchise is the second largest real estate owner in the United States.
That doesn't surprise me.
Second only to the federal government.
In Indiana, it's the dollar store because there's like 10 in each town. Literally, I live in a spot where you get 3 towns, none more than 5,000 people in them, and each one of those towns has $2 to $3 stores, but a couple of them just closed down. So the economy is going bad here.
Though. There's no dollar store. Yeah, but no, McDonald's is the largest private franchise owner of real estate, second only to the U.S. government in terms of land owned.
Well, that's another one in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. There's 2 McDonald's, one on one side, one on the other side, and there's only about 2 miles in between those sides.
Yeah, and you know what Pizza Hut's entire strategy was on placing franchises?
What?
Well, be next to a McDonald's?
Be next to McDonald's, because McDonald's did all the research. Yeah, no, it was. It was like, we offer a different product. I mean, I studied this in college. It's like Pizza Hut, Yum Brands just said, and Yum Brands now owns Pizza Hut. At the time, they were an independent franchise, but Pizza Hut just said, wherever there's a McDonald's, plant a Pizza Hut right next to it because it gives people an option. And McDonald's has already done the research that it's a demographically good area because McDonald's only puts places. I think there's only been one McDonald's ever to close because of failure to be able to provide, profit.
Yeah.
And I don't know where it is. There's only one. I think there's one somewhere that failed because of not profitability. But other than that, every other McDonald's has always been a gold mine of success. And it's because Ray Kroc was a genius, and the guy he hired with him, I watched the movie about him, the biopic on him is really good. Was Michael Keaton played Ray Kroc.
Oh, the founder?
The founder, yeah.
Yeah,
and
that was released, I think, in 2017.
his partner came out, and the guy he hired in did all the research on the locations, and there was strategically, every McDonald's was placed strategically, that it was the most visible traffic, the highest volume of people, opportunity for people to come in. And Pizza Hut just came in and said, don't do the research. Just wherever there's a Pizza Hut McDonald's, put a Pizza Hut there next to it, and you'll be fine. Because there are people that want pizza over hamburgers. And that's how Pizza Hut has become the largest pizza chain in the world.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. There's some news. All right, what else we got? Wilt Chamberlain scores 58 points. Let's tie this into James Harden. What is James Harden on some kind of historic run right now, or is he just having a good week?
You know, Steve, the whole James Harden thing is unbelievable. The way he's developed, he's unguardable. You know, the way he's taken that Euro step and perfected his moves. And, I mean, he shot 20 threes and 20 free throws in the same game. I mean, that's never been done. He scored how many gazillion points in a row? None have been assisted to him. What coach would even allow this brand of basketball before 2018?
How are the Rockets doing as a team?
They're doing okay. I mean, I think I'd have to look it up right now. I think they're somewhere in the middle of the top 8, like maybe 4th or 5th, 6th, something like that in the West. I'll look that up right now as we're talking. And they're from a good point of view, they're okay.
They're in 5th. They're 27-20.
There you go.
That's a good record in the NBA.
You know, and they were supposed to be the second behind the Warriors, and they still might be. They'll get Chris Paul back, and they're a pretty tough team to guard. They're unique, but I don't know what to think about that. I mean, what do you think, Steve, as a basketball guy, when you watch that?
Well, I think individualism. I think he's probably scoring points. That's my question. How's the team doing? That's the first question I asked.
Yeah, they're 27-20, so they're doing all right like that.
They're doing all right with him. Yeah, so that's okay. He's doing it in a way that's not just being selfish. Apparently, if they're 27-20, that's a pretty strong record in the NBA.
Right.
Given the fact you're playing half your games on the road, if you're that far above 500 at this point, in the West is pretty much a one-team, 2-team West. I mean, you got Golden State.
The Rockets are only 6 games out of first place right now.
Are they?
Beyond the Warriors.
And behind the Warriors, yeah. So they're probably the second or third best team. I know Utah is very strong. I know Bobby's very high on Utah, and justifiably.
Utah and Denver.
Yeah, and we'll see what the Lakers can do when LeBron comes back. I think LeBron's going to get the benefit of the referees because I think the NBA wants LeBron in the playoffs.
Right, they got to at least make it to 8.
Yeah, they're going to get to 8. Don't worry, they're going to get in the playoffs. The question
Can
is
you
how
imagine
much they want.
Golden State being the number 1 seed in your first round game, your first round series? You got to beat LeBron.
They sweep LeBron every year. What's the big difference if you do it the first round or the finals?
Yeah, that's a good point, Mike.
True.
I'm not making that bet with you again anymore. I learned my lesson on that one. So,
LeBron is one great scorer. Golden State's about 5.
I think I saw where Harden had 6 50-point games, and then they said number 1 was Wilt Chamberlain with 116 50-point games or something like that. It was some astronomical. I mean, Chamberlain, you got to remember, Wilt Chamberlain for a season averaged 50.4 points a game. That was his average.
Yeah, I saw on this morning that Harden would have to average 68 points a game for the rest of the season to beat Wilt.
Yeah. He will, yeah, and that's never going to happen. That's another one of those Nolan Ryan strikeout records that's probably never, or Cy Young baseball records that's probably never going to be touched. To sit there and tell me that you can average 50.4 points a game for a season is pretty phenomenal.
Pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. So, Mike, what else we got to talk about here before we've had a great session here with Bobby.
No, we'll leave it up to Bobby. Bobby, what else you want to talk about? I'm
what else you
completely
talk about, Bobby? It's your show today. This is about you.
Well, I think we're good. I think we're good, and I think I appreciate talking about the sports betting and the legalization
of it. Well, educate
and,
people on it.
Yeah, and it's good stuff, and I think there's a lot of knowledge out there. People are gaining a lot of knowledge, but they're not really. All that knowledge isn't going to help you be a better. Look, the bottom line is, do you make money or do you not? That's what it all comes down to. And
what's amazing to me, of course, when I think of betting, I still think of the Corleone family, and the mafia controlling all of that, and casino and all that stuff, and the underbosses and everything. But I think what's more important about the fact that it's becoming legalized, so you're going to be able to do it right from the comfort of your couch with your credit card, and you're watching the game, so you don't want to bet on this game. But I think what's more important than that is things like the Sheridan report that are out there that help you make informed decisions. So you don't go out and just bet with your heart. Because, like I said, I've never, ever not picked the Colts to win a game, no matter what, because I bet with my heart on the Colts, which is not very smart if I'm going to start putting money down on betting on the Colts, which I'm not sure I'm going to do. But I think when there's things like the Sheridan report out there that you can get, for an investment of $10 a day or $50 a month, and if it's going to help you, like I said, get vacation money, or put the pool in the backyard or whatever you want to do with it, not make a living off it. I think you make a living off it, but I think a lot of people don't have the wherewithal to make a living off of it. Yeah, but you can have fun with it. You can have fun with it. You can say, we can go out
have fun with it, right?
Yeah, you make a few bucks every now and then, and you'll lose some. But
I think what's happened is a lot of times people will go off on their own and they'll bet for a few days, and maybe they'll have some success and they'll be okay. But then they can't sustain this because they're not professional with it. They don't really know what they're doing overall. So they come up on a few days in a row where they're killed, and then it's a week and 2 weeks, and that's when their confidence is shot, and then they turn to somebody that knows what they're doing. And I see that a lot. And then I see the guy who says, you know what, I want to be involved in it every day, and I can't win. I know I need help every day on a daily basis, and they because they are trying to make some money. And that guy is the guy that he's buying my report every day. And so
would you say, Bobby, the one advice that you would give, and this is probably something I've learned, is that don't bet what you can't afford to lose?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're going to do it professionally, you have a bankroll, and you bet a percentage of your bankroll on a game. Okay. If you're not doing it that way, and you're just kind of your bankroll is your nut every month. How much do I make? How much has to go out, and how much do I really have for entertainment? And that's what I can bet with. And you're right. If you keep it in there, then you're never too much stress, never too much pressure, and you can come back the next week and make it back. But it's these guys like that play, in between, the AC-Deucey game, and they've lost their whole rent check. That it's a lot of pressure, and it just destroys the whole game, destroys your whole world. You've got to have discipline. You got to stay within your means, and if you're going to make money, you got to have you got to be able to manage your bankroll and have some discipline. And so
probably the best advice is if you're gonna get into this and you want to do things like Sheridan report, you want to get into legalized sports betting now. It's like probably advice would be bet more for entertainment, not for profitability.
Probably for most people, yes. That's what you do. That's what they do.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to make a living at it, then you've got to have what I call business money or a bankroll. I've got money that I bet with to make money with, and that's all that money's for. And so if you're going to do it, come up with a bankroll, bet a percentage of that bankroll on games. If it's a top play, you bet more, and you just try to make money over a month, just like on a job.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? You do it by winning a good percentage of your bets.
And listen to the people who are informed.
And listen to the people who are informed, who do it every single day, who have a sense and a feel and have a lot of experience and can combine the analytics and come up and find the best 2 or 3, 4 games out of the 100 for that day. And that's what I do. That's what I try to do, at least.
And what's your record on our show so far?
Maybe 13-5 or 14-6 or something like that.
So if we'd followed your bets all the time, most people that have bet your way, they'd have made money. They'd have made some play money.
And that's just for the on-air. Like yesterday we were 2-1. We were 3-1 the other day. We were 0-1 on the air the other day, 2 days ago, but we were actually 3-1 on the report. And And the top play is 33-16, so you're 17 games over 500, and you figure it out.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, and that's what you're trying to do. That happens to be 67%, and that's really high. To make money, they say you only have to be right about 53% if you bet the same amount, because you have to overcome the vigorous. You have to overcome that, and that's why it's not 50%, but 53%, something like that. Anything above that, you can make money on. So if you're up there in the 60s, you're doing pretty good, and that's where we've been for a long time. We did the NFL contest at the Westgate, and we were 61.3%. That's for the whole season, and that was 100 out of 3,600 professionals that entered that contest. And the NFL is not my best return on investment. So that's why I'm saying if you're going to really get on board with the Sheridan Report, I would suggest come up with a bankroll, whatever that is, get going around March, and take me through the baseball season, and we'll make some money.
There you go.
Have every year for years, and so that's what I'll end that little advertisement on.
There you go, Mike. Anything else?
I got nothing else. You want me to wrap it up, or you want to wrap it up?
Wrap it up, buddy. I blew the opening for sure.
Did you?
I was no Mike Goodpaster. Well, you'll hear it when you post it. It wasn't nearly as good as you.
That's good. It makes you stay in your place.
It does, Mike. I know my place.
All right, next week, Super Bowl week, on Monday, we've got Don Horn, who was the backup quarterback in Super Bowl II, to Bart Starr. On Tuesday, it looks like tentatively we will have Sam Weish, head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals in Super Bowl 23. I'm looking at maybe Mark Edwards next Wednesday to talk a little Super Bowl, his experience, Super Bowl 36 with the New England Patriots and the huge upset against the Los Angeles Rams, St. Louis Rams, whatever the hell they were called by then. On Thursday, we will have LaVon Kirkland, who was supposed to be on the day. We had to push that back. So on Thursday, LaVon Kirkland will be here to talk about Super Bowl 30, where the Steelers played a great game against the Dallas Cowboys, came up a little bit short. He was part of a defense that held Emmitt Smith to 56 yards total rushing in that Super Bowl game. And then on Friday, we will have Rocky Bleier, who is one of the great running backs in Pittsburgh Steeler history, also a legend at Notre Dame, Vietnam War hero, Medal of Honor winner. He will be Friday to talk a little bit of Super Bowl. He was in Super Bowls 9, 10, 12, 13, or 9, 10, 13, and 14. And I'm sure that with 4 Super Bowls, the show will probably last 4 hours with Risley asking the questions of a Notre Dame legend. You can follow.
Is Rocky Bleier a Medal of Honor winner? He's got a Medal of Honor.
Did I say Medal of Honor?
Yeah.
Oh, no. He wasn't, he got shot, or what? He got blown up, stepped on a grenade.
Purple Heart, yeah.
Yeah, Purple Heart, whatever, same thing.
I was
Not
Medal
really.
of Honor winner, then I'm touched. I mean, I've never gotten to speak to a Medal of Honor winner.
Maybe we could see if we can get Trump to give him a Medal of Honor before he comes on the show, then.
Yeah.
What? If he can get McDonald's as easily as he did, he can do that.
You have to be Russian to get Trump to do anything.
Ooh. Well, I'm in no hurry to do anything except wrap this show up. Remember, you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher. That's why I'm the host, Steve. So, for Bobby Sheridan from the Sheridan Report, Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.